Welcome to the Parish Group doing our Spring 2026 Dive Deeper. This is a recording of our rehearsal, so you'll get some probably fun behind the scenes. You'll see what we are really like to work with, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the very, very nerdy in terms of our report build today. So bear with us as we see how our run-through goes.
Awesome, and thank you, and good afternoon, and welcome to the Spring 2026 Dive Deeper with the Parish Group. Our topic of conversation today for the Springsteen fans in attendance is Deliver Me From Nowhere, pun intended, of course, an analytical approach to communications reporting. The focus of today's session is a little bit different than normal. We will actually be developing a report build in real time where we're going to unearth and aggregate some of the fundamental and actionable delivery and engagement metrics available to you amongst the messages, message track, and message mailing tables, primarily within Slate. Before we jump into introductions, just a brief overview of the agenda. It's a short agenda today because of our live build. We're going to start out with a quick look at some of the pieces of the finished product of what these reports look like. So you can ultimately get a sense of what kind of data you're going to be able to pull together within this report build. And then we'll transition, of course, into the live build itself. Our hope is that at the end of today's session, you can walk away with both the applicable knowledge of how to build these reports on your own, but also a little bit of a sense of what it's like to work with a preferred partner assisting you along the way. That preferred partner being us, the Parish Group. So first off, introduction to the Parish Group. For those of you who are not familiar with us, we are approaching 40 years in the higher education marketing consulting space, with an organizational identity that's rooted in creativity, problem solving, and customer service. What began with photography and ink on paper and branding that was solely done in print and view books and course catalogs and those kinds of things has grown into a full service enrollment solution suite, which obviously is inclusive of a wide range of Slate implementation and support services as well. Our Slate team in particular focuses on function and innovation to truly leverage all the things that Slate can do for an institution. I am Marcus Webb. I'm the Vice President of Enrollment Analytics and Chief Slate Strategist here at the Parish Group. I've been with the firm about 5.5 years and spent the decade or so prior to that at both public and private liberal arts institutions in various capacities, mostly related to strategic enrollment management, financial aid leveraging, and systems development. I've been in the CRM implementation space for about 12 years and a Slate user since 2017. These are my dogs because I was forced to put dogs into our introductory slides. And then my role in today's build is going to be that of the eager and capable Slate end user. And I will hand it over to Katie.
Hey friends, I'm Katie. So my fun fact of the day is my sister swore to me yesterday if I came to hang out with her children, I would not leave sick. I have a terrible sore throat today, so we will see how I do. My role today is consultant, so taking Marcus through what the live build is going to look like. And I am one of the two people who peer pressured him into showing puppy photos.
Amazing. I am Malin. I started in higher education in 2012 and Slate not long after that. Senior Director of Slate Support here at the Parish Group. And today I will not be holding down the chat, but when we are doing it live, I will be. And most importantly, these are my two very cute and perfect dogs, Bradley, Cooper, and Landry. Cool. So before Katie and Marcus gets into the live build, just a quick glimpse at what our final product will look like today. The goal of our communications report is to provide a holistic view of how your communications are performing by analyzing some metrics that aren't as easily accessible through the standard deliver reports or message level queries. So this report will help us to identify the optimal times to send messages, both by day of the week and by time of day. Marcus, if you want to go to the next slide. And we'll use data such as sends, clicks, bounces, and opt-outs to look at this. We'll also gain insight into the volume of emails our prospects, inquiries, and applicants have received over the past 6 months. This really helps us to evaluate whether we're reaching the right audience at the right time to support meaningful engagement. Additionally, we'll identify which links are the most frequently clicked, giving us a clearer understanding of what content resonates most with our audience. And similarly, we'll analyze which messages generate the highest engagement based on subject line, helping us craft more compelling emails and improve overall performance. Finally, we'll examine messages with the highest opt-out rates to understand where we may be losing our audience and identify opportunities to reduce unsubscribe activities. With that in mind, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Marcus and Katie, who will walk us through the build of this report.
Phenomenal. Open up your whimsical dashboard first, and then please click on New Report. And we are going to be, so let's get started by naming it Deliver Analytics. Perfect. We're going to leave the realm blank for now. And if you want to put it into the folder of samples, please. Perfect. And then save. Okay. So we are going to be building this in 4 different data charts today, so we can use a couple different bases. So if you want to get started by just clicking on Data/Charts, amazing. Our first one is going to be named Time of Day. Configurable joins is good, but we actually want the category of related. And then the base of message. Perfect. And then save that one. Cool. And while we're here, we're going to put on the filters that will apply to this whole part. So go ahead and click on Filter for me. And we're going to add 3 direct filters here. So the first one is going to be Method. And we would like that to be set to email, please. Amazing. The second one is Type. And we're going to go with Deliver Mailing. Perfect. And then our third filter is going to be Delivered Date. And this is one where it's going to depend a little bit on your instance. For our build today, we are going to use greater than or equal to today minus 2 months. You might have more time, you might have less in terms of what will load, but just as a jumping off point, here we go. And that means we have sent just about 600 messages. Love to see it. You're good to click on Save. Perfect. We are now going to do a whole bunch of data columns, so if you want to get started with one of those. Our first one is going to be named Sent. Perfect. And the other thing you're going to want to do here is include a variable name of @sent. Perfect. And then you are going to click on Filter and Status and Sent. There's going to be like a little bit of a theme here. Our next data column is going to be Click. So we want the name, the variable name, and then we want to filter to the same, well, to status again, but then a different status. You have nailed it. Okay, for our third data column, we're going to go a little bit different. And this is going to be named Click Rate. And so rather than a population, we're going to go with a formula. Perfect. And we're going to have the formula of @click space / space null if parenthesis @sent comma 0 close parenthesis. And then your format, you're going to want to add a period, 2 more pound signs or hashtags, depending on your age, and a %sign. Woohoo! Okay. Now we're going to go a little boring again. We want 2 more data columns.
Is it okay if I copy one of my existing columns, Katie?
I would love if you copied one of your existing columns. Double click into click and change it to bounce. And then click on, yep, perfect. What's really fun is I was actually about to forget to say that, so thank you. And then save as copy is the trick. Drag it over, you have nailed it. If you want to do that again, it is, in this case, marginally faster, sometimes significantly faster, depending on your joins. Marcus, this one is complaint. Or compliant, whatever you feel. Do you want me to make fun of typos this whole time, or will that get old? And then save as copy. And we have 2 more columns. This is going to be your last one that's a population. And this is going to be opt out. Perfect. As a fun thing, just as a reminder, your variable name does need to be computer friendly, so do not put a space here. Perfect. And save as copy. Okay, and then you can, for your last data column, either copy your formula or build from scratch again. That's what I would do too. This is going to be % opt out from send. Or opt out rate, whatever speaks to your heart. And then where it says click on the formula line, simply update that to be opt out. And then save as copy. Woohoo! You've nailed it. Okay. Now, what we're going to get into is looking at what this data means. So we're going to start with a data table. And for this one, let's go ahead and start a subquery export. Nailed it. Okay. So what we are going to do is re-add our filter here of delivered date. And again, that was the greater than or equal to today minus 2 months. And then you're going to click on the export button. And you want to grab message delivered date here. Perfect. Now, just for something fun really quickly, go back into that export. And what you're going to want to do is add a format mask. And in this case, what we are interested in is a format mask of 4 lowercase d's. Amazing. And then save that. What that is doing is turning it into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And before we forget, let's give this the name of day. And then we are not done yet, though we almost are. Now that you've saved it, click back into day. And I lied. Let's call it good from here. Perfect. And then save that. Woohoo! All right. So we are now able to see some of our data pieces, but we want to go a little bit more in depth, right? Like, when are we sending these on these days? So Marcus, can you do me a favor and duplicate your Slate tab? And then go to database and search for translation code. Amazing. Okay, ignore time of day. We're doing something extremely different than that. Go ahead and click on new key and name it daytime. And then our type is going to be date time inclusive range. Perfect. And then save that one for me. Okay. Now, what we're going to get into is building our values. I have arbitrarily created 5. This is one of those things that is really dealer's choice. So go ahead and click on new value for me. And we are going to have these as times built with each 4 numerals, okay? So we are going to be very clear about our date and times that we're using. So we're going to start with 04:01 a.m. as our minimum value, and our maximum value is going to be 10 just 10. Well, and then thank you. AM. And our export value there is going to be morning. Cool. And then save that one. Our next one is going to be 10:01 AM with a maximum value of 2, but 02, please. PM. And that's going to be afternoon. Perfect. For our third one, we're going to do, believe it or not, 02:01. Close. PM. And then 06 PM. And we're going to call that one early evening. And save that. And you might see a little bit of a pattern here, but we're going to do 06:01 PM and to 10 PM. And that is going to be evening. And save. And then our last one is going to be 10:01 PM until 4 AM. And that is overnight. And I have to stress again, I made these up. Please feel free to use anything. And with that, we are actually good to close out of this tab if you feel you have completed your journey here. Perfect. On this screen, go ahead and actually refresh the page in order to get that translation code. Either save or cancel, we're not changing anything there. Double-click back into your data table. Perfect. And what we're going to do here is add a second subquery export. Perfect. So name this one time. And just for fun, we're going to do the filter to today minus 2 months again on delivered date. I like to really hammer this one in because it can be such a large table that it does help here. And then we're going to do the export again. And we are going to select deliver date and save, and then double click into it. And this time we're going to do an export value of translation code. And you're going to select your daytime. Beautiful. And then we are going to place a format mask on it, all lowercase, HH, semicolon, MM, space, TT. And go ahead and save. And save. And save. So that did, right on the screen, absolutely nothing. But if you breadcrumb back to the report, you can now click and have a dropdown of when are these messages actually being sent and what do our deliver rates look like across time. Woohoo! Part 1 complete. We are 25% of the way done. So we're going to start a new data/chart. And our big difference here is this is going to be named person status. Okay, and our base is going to be person. As a small caveat, this is our sandbox instance that Marcus is building in today. We don't actually send messages to person records. And that was part of what Malin was showing earlier on, is what it does look like when we are using the person record and messaging them. This one is going to look a little bit silly in our instance. And with that being said, some filters that you would traditionally want here would be to look at a person's start term, graduation year, however you are measuring that. Potentially, you would be looking at different application rounds if you're looking at messages to applicants. For our build now, Marcus, you do not need a single filter here. This would usually be a little bit of a larger table, but we're just working with some test records. And you are good to click on save. You've nailed it. Okay, start a data column for me. And what we're going to be building here are 3 columns for prospect, inquiry, and applicant. There's 2 schools of thought on this. You can have it as prospect plus, so the entire funnel. So prospects, inquiries, and applicants, and then a column of inquiries and applicants, and then a column of just applicants. Or you can have dedicated prospects, inquiries, and applicants. Marcus, I'm going to leave that decision today in your capable hands. Okay, I actually don't know what that means. So let's just follow what you're doing, which is picking status. And he wants dedicated prospects, inquiries, and applicants. I love it. Cool. And save that. And then you're going to want to just click into prospects again. Rename it inquiries. Change your filter and save as copy. And second time really, applicants. Change your status and save as copy. Cool. So this report requires a tiny bit more explanation. So before we start our data table, go ahead and click on static content for me. And we're going to name this section average number of deliver emails in the last 6 months. Why? Cool. Go ahead and save that. Okay. And then start a data table for me. And we are going to change our row type from group by to aggregate. And then average and the number format is perfect. So under value, what you are going to do is start a subquery export again. Perfect. And now we're going to name this messages. And we're going to join from person to, believe it or not, messages. And save that for me. And then we're going to click on filter. And we want delivered date. Perfect. And this one is greater than or equal to today minus 6 months. And then save that. And then go to filter again. And we want messages type. And then we want deliver mailing here because that's what we labeled it. And then save, and then save. Oops. And then change your output to be aggregate and count. And now save. And then save. Cool. And again, I have to reiterate that it's usually not that you have messaged 0 people. For the sake of this build, we're going to pretend that this is a normal number and persist. So Marcus, go ahead and click into your static content, your label right there, and change this to average number of ad hoc emails. And then save as copy. I almost tricked myself. And drag that down to beneath your empty data table. Click into your empty data table and double click into your value export and change it to the type to ad hoc. Save, and save as copy. And then do your absolute best to drag that down. Cool. Hey, that's pretty exciting. Okay. And then last one, click into your static content again and change it to form emails. Thank you. And save as copy. Ooh. And change that back to ad hoc. And save as copy. Why? Amazing. And then into your data table and into messages and change your type here. Perfect. Save as copy. Drag it down and acknowledge as a group that this does look a little bit funky. And now we are going to go back to edit report and start on our third one. Amazing. So this is going to be message performance. And we're going to do related as our category. And our base this time is going to be message track. Cool. Go ahead and save. And this time, we are going to go with two direct filters. So go ahead and click filter. And we want timestamp under message track. And we want to do greater than or equal to today minus 6 months. Perfect. And save that. And click on filter again. And go to event type. And select click. Woohoo! And then save. So for this one, we're going to keep it very, very easy on data columns. We do need one for the report to work, but in this case, we do only want one. And you're going to give it the name of clicked links. Because you already built the filters into the base of this part, you're good to just click save. Cool. And we're going to, again, do a static content. And this is going to be most clicked links in the last 6 months. Amazing. Okay. And then we're going to start a data table. And we're going to click on export, please. Okay. And what you want here is URL under message track. And continue. Now, you want to go back into that export. And you want to change your sort first from metric to clicked links. And then you want to set it to descending and then put on a limit of 10. What that is going to give you is your top 10 most clicked links across your messages in the last 6 months. So you're good to save and then save. And we're going to let that generate. Oh, it generated. So as I said, this is our sandbox. So essentially people are checking us out on some different platforms. That's pretty exciting. I would also like to see here what messages are working for people. So let's click into your static content and change this to most clicked messages in the last 6 months. And then save as copy and drag it down. Cool. And start a new data table because this one is going to be a little bit different because we need to do a subquery export this time. So go ahead and name this messages. And then click on join. And you want to join to message. And you want to actually join again to message mailing. Perfect. And save that. And then you want to so close. You want to export message mailing subject. Cool. Before you click save, go back in and click into, you want to do the same trick. So you want to change clicked links, descending, and top 10. And then save. And then save. And it turns out that, my goodness, do we host 1 or 2 availability sessions? Oof, that's a little disheartening. All right. We are on to the 4th and perhaps saddest part of this report. What messages don't people like? So this one is good news, going to be a data/chart. And we're going to name it highest opt-outs. Okay. We're going to change our category to related. And our base is message. And then save that one. And we're going to filter 2 direct filters. So we want delivered date greater than or equal to today minus 6 months. And again, all of these numbers may need adjusting based on your instance. I do know that these work here. And our type is going to be deliver mailing. Perfect. Okay, save. And we're going to have 3 different data columns. 2 population, 1 formula. So our first one is going to be opt out. Okay, and you're going to want to include a variable name here, computer friendly. And then we're going to filter, and we want a status. And we're going to go with opt out and complaint here. Perfect. We are going to start a second data column. You can copy and name this one sent and change your variable name. Any order that makes you happy is good. But you will get an error if you have the same variable name twice. And then save as copy. And then for your last one, we're going with percentage opt out. Perfect. And then you're going to change your type to be formula. And you're going to go with the formula. And you can always copy from your example right there, which is what I usually do. I think I was just being mean to you on the first one, making you type that. So we're going to go with opt out. And then null if instead of applicants, you want sent there. The hard part for me is always remembering what I named my variables. And then, turn it into a true percentage and save. Cool. Last 2 things, we're going to click on static content. And we're going to name this messages with the highest opt-out in the last 6 months. And then save that one. And then we're going to do our very last data table. And we're going to subquery export, please. And go ahead and name this messages. And then click on join. And go ahead and join to message mailing. Save, and then export. Message mailing name. Perfect, and then save this one. And before you click save again, double click back into message. And change your sort to opt out. You can see all of the columns here, so a little bit different. And then descending. And limit of 10. Cool. And save. Now this is a real moment of truth. I'm going to say these look very good. I feel good with this. Who would ever not want to be invited to save the date for Summit? Devastating. Okay. Congratulations, Marcus. If you breadcrumb back to Delivery Analytics, you can see how the Parish Group sandbox of messages is doing. How do you feel Melinda's been holding down the chat today?
Unquestionably solid, as always.
Amazing. Anything to add, friends?
This was a quick and easy build, and ultimately I think can give some pretty significant insights in the ways in which you can potentially adjust your communication, audit your communication, assess its effectiveness, and in a way that is really nice and singular destination for all of this aggregation. You don't have to go digging through every single deliver message to determine, oh yeah, that one went well, this one went well. So yeah, as an end user, I feel significantly empowered to have a better handle on my communication structure in Slate.
The Parish Group is a Slate Platinum partner, and we'd love to help you implement, audit, or optimize your instance. Reach out at success@parishgroup.com or call us at 828-505-3000.